Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to our weekly energy talk here live. So good to have you guys here. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in for talking about these energies that we're all feeling, that we are all dealing with, but that are sometimes difficult for us to articulate or to make sense of. So today I want to reflect on these energies that we are feeling here coming from mainstream media, from our environment, not so much individuals, but more so what is coming in as this collective weather condition. If you are familiar with my website, you know that I have a life energy calendar there where you can look up energy tips and descriptions of those collective energies on a day-to-day basis. Some days are neutral, there's no comment there, but those days that are a little more intense, where we feel this perhaps in our bodies, in our emotional states, or just simply in form of ups and downs within ourselves, those days have a very clear energy tip there. And what you're seeing here on your screen is the theme of the day, namely talking about the confrontation with untruth. Yeah, collective gaslighting and mind control tactics. Yes. And my job here as energy coach and energy trainer is to help you with uncovering those distortions of reality that are surrounding us. So there's obviously, like a subjective experience of our reality that we all have, and that depends on our personal conditions and circumstances. And obviously, that's individual to each and every one of us. But I want to help you guys with no longer questioning yourself that much, and rather focus your attention on questioning the reality that is being projected to you on the outside. The truth is somewhere in between. Yeah, so let me be clear about this. I'm showing you tactics. These tactics are textbook, and we know a lot about them here at transCODES through the Sacred Self-Healing Program and some of the other community programs that we have, where we illuminate these energetic aspects of relationships, energetic aspects of human interaction, namely from narcissistic, like self-gain, exploitation, and basically values, that these tactics that people use who are not really interested in your well-being. So this is something that I'm presuming here we somewhat agree on, that we are all living in a toxic relationship with our society at this very moment. We are all experiencing these aspects of maybe deception, aspects of betrayal, aspects of distorted reality, and the problem that comes with it, namely knowing what is true, knowing what is true to us, knowing where we want to go with this. And today marks the first day in a 10-day period that I've pointed out to all of you readers and subscribers of my newsletter as probably the most intense, energetic time here for this year 2023. It is the full-on confrontation with untruth on all levels. So for some of you, that may be a little scary or a little disconcerting. It may pull you into just wanting to check out because it's just too much. And for some of you, it may feel like a true new beginning. And that is what I would like to focus on. So even though I am going to show you how this distortion of reality is being done, I don't want you to focus on the negative aspect of that. I don't want you to focus on how mean and how conspiratory and how exploitative that is, because that's something that we already know. I want you to focus on how you can utilize this wisdom, apply it and learn from it for yourself, not obviously to become a better gaslighter or mind controller, but to decouple from all of this, to consciously mark that you are done with, externalizing your inner power to outer powers that don't even have your best interest in mind. So sometimes that is mirrored in our relationships. Sometimes that's mirrored in our jobs, in our careers, in our, interaction with other people at work or in other types of communities. So I want you to pay attention now when we go through this list. This is extremely important to understand, that we have a narcissistic, meaning an energy form that is based on trickery, on deceit, and exploitation all around us. You can call this dark forces, you can call this evil. I like keeping it neutral because when I look at it from an energetic perspective, it is definitely a lower vibratory energy that pulls us into our lower expressions, into our lower states. But it's not really that hard to out-vibrate those when you know what it actually is that is being distorted, how you're being manipulated. And I would love for you guys to have questions or to comment either here in the comment section if you're watching this video recording. And those of you who are live with me here, please raise your hand or type something into the chat that we can all see as your question in regards to like how this may apply to your personal life. So what is this narcissistic energy that we can identify sort of as the distortion or the main force that is distorting our reality? I call this collective gaslighting, by the way. So there are some other videos on my YouTube channel that you can watch about how to handle collective gaslighting. Today, I want to really go into the techniques and show you how it's being done. And then in the second part next week, I want to go further into what you can do with each of these things that may or may not, like maybe you'll be able to see how that is playing out in your own life throughout the week, until the second part, how you can counteract this. Any questions so far? Anything that you would like to maybe have addressed? For the subject, collective gaslighting, how it is that we are being deceived in how we perceive reality. No questions so far. Okay, let's have a look at these gaslighting techniques. These gaslighting and mind control techniques. So generally, we need to understand that the objective of any kind of narcissistic, and in this day and age, it is mostly the focus on the material only. So the focus on you, like just caring about your personal comfort, your personal, like gain, and, also the material and consumerism aspects that come with this. So that is the narcissistic nature of this. And except for that, the entity that is doing that is not a person, but the force and power at this very moment, meaning that the majority of people on this planet are basically sort of following that sort of narcissistic kind of agenda. Even though you may not feel that way within yourself, there is a continual bombardment of that through everything that we are perceiving in mainstream media, songs, movies, even books. Okay. And the main objective of that is to secure, fulfill, justify, reconfirm, and validate these needs of the system, for us to be good consumers, for us to be compliant, for us to be good followers, and for us to be distracted enough to not really be able to see how some of these things that we are blindly following, the paradigm blindness that we develop in the process, work against our own needs and wants, against our own desires, and perhaps also our own purpose. So the whole point of gaslighting and mind control is that we are being so distracted that we cannot actually feel into our heart, that we are not focused enough to feel this empathy that we need to connect deeply with ourselves, with our purpose, and with others. And that we kind of develop sort of an emptiness in regard to who we are. The sense of self, that we are sort of becoming like the system, like drones or zombies or whatever those terms that are floating around, and that we stay in that state of deep insecurity or free floating anxiety, as I called it in previous energy talks. So this is what we are basically turning into if we don't uncover how our reality is geared toward this. And that's the reason why I think at this point it's very, very important that you understand how that is being done, the origin of all of that, and that then can help you to counteract this. All right. So in this sense, we're all really being, gaslit into becoming narcissistic supply for the system. And that is, this silent complicity that I've talked about before, that we're trying to prevent. Why? Because it creates a humongous amount of cognitive dissonance in us, of inner schisms, inner splits that end up making us anxious, depressed, and perhaps even worse, resorting to just sort of checking out and voluntarily giving in to these gaslighting and mind control techniques. All right. So this is why I think it's extremely important. It's probably the most important message that we can get in this time. I'm very serious about this, guys. Okay. So let's look at tactic number 1. That is, when we talk about narcissists, we call this enticing or charming or love bombing. Now, we are not really being love bombed by our society, but there is something that we can call a message that is being sent to us through politicians, through corporations, marketing, and so forth. And that is pretending interest. In order to invoke trust in us, they pretend to have our best interest in mind. And that is being repeated over and over and over again. That everything they do, whether it's bailing out banks or whether it's, putting us into lockdown or closing down schools or, making, restricting people's freedom to travel or to see one another, as having our best interest in mind. They present themselves in that role. That's a form of projection, that they are here to save us, to, prevent harm from us. Basically sort of in this paternal, kind of like, don't worry, honey, I'm going to take care of things for you. You just, trust me, okay, and I'll do this for you. So that's how this love bombing, in a collective sense plays out, pretending that they have our interest at heart. And my personal tip for you is that the more someone or an organization repeats this message to you that all they have in mind is your best interest, and they're only doing this to protect you from harm, or, like, they know what's best for you. The more they propagate this, the more suspicious you should be. Because if somebody or something has your best interest in mind, it's not needed to point this out for you, because you will feel that. You will feel a resonance. There will be an inner signal for you, okay, that tells you that this is something that is uplifting. This is something that is life supporting for you. Get that? Yeah. Number 2, data collecting, and once more, making you trust them. So when it's a person-to-person situation, they'll ask you a lot of questions. Yeah, they'll pretend to be really interested in how you see things and what you do, and in order to later use this information against you. Now, this is something that we see here on a collective level in many different ways. Yeah, for example, the scandals that we had in the last couple of years about Facebook and some other social media organizations, TikTok, well, Instagram is part of Facebook, and Snapchat, collecting your data. Also, Google and so forth. So I just want to, just name them all, because I don't mean one in particular. Everything that we are buying, that we are talking about, even the things that we're talking about in private, over our phones, or when we have our devices on, is technically being collected, and is used to develop marketing strategies. To understand that. You all know this. When you Google something, 5 seconds later, you'll see an ad on Facebook or on Google or any other social media platform. So here is this, this idea, okay, that, we don't know what's best for us. Yeah, it needs to be orchestrated in a way that, somebody can take care of our needs, or how we have already seen it play out, used to make us more susceptible to buying certain things, or to subscribing to certain things, or to agreeing to certain things. So data collection is, as you know, one of the things that I've been warning about for over 10 years now. Yeah, and also predicted that there will be a time, this time is close now, 2 years, where there'll be new laws that will actually prevent that from happening, where we are all kind of like donating blood, where we can sell our own private data. That's a subject for another energy talk, though. So that's a way to control us, by collecting as much private information as possible. And right now, the purpose for that is to create a control system, a digital control system, a digital ID, a digital house pass, and obviously also a social credit system that then basically runs through our devices, restricting what we can do, what we can buy, who we can talk to, what we can subscribe to, and so forth, based on how well we comply with the system. So be careful here with the kind of data that you are producing. Your digital footprint is much more important for the future than your carbon footprint. All right, just on a side note here. Yeah, so then we come to one of the most, obvious ones, and that is distracting, blindsiding, gaslighting altogether, and crazy making through all sorts of outer distraction. Yeah. So to cover up their own tracks, and this is something that we see repeating in history over and over and over again. This is not just right now. This has always been done, but we can wonderfully predict this nowadays and see it happening, like literally, on a week-to-week basis. Yeah. Covering up their own tracks means that there are things that are so big or maybe so disconcerting that if we knew it, we would ask more questions, or we would be less susceptible to complying. We would maybe protest, or we would ask for other things, like say, things that have to do with inflation, things that have to do with the energy cost, things that have to do with food supply and so forth. So yeah, all the things that are really, really important for our survival. So for as long as we're staying distracted enough, yeah, kind of like ADHD, sort of a collective ADHD, where we don't really have the mental capacity to focus on a subject deep enough or far enough to really understand it. Yeah. Examples for that is climate change, or the whole sort of flying object, the UFO thing. Those are just things that are being sort of thrown out at us to confuse us. Nobody really believes in anything anymore, or believes in everything, and so we're just like sort of being pushed around like a bouncy ball, not really in the state of mind that allows us to ask the right questions, to feel into them, to breathe through them without getting overloaded. Now here, it's very important that you understand that your devices and social media and the way data is presented or information is presented to us, that this is how it plays out. It's being presented to us in these small snippets, 16-second information snippets, okay, that sort of condition your brain to no longer having the patience to actually read something. Yeah, as an author, I can tell you that this is a big issue nowadays, because people aren't really able to read articles that are 9 minutes long, yeah, or even 6 minutes long. Yeah, it has to be in like tabular form and 2 paragraphs max. Yeah, this is a phenomenon, yeah, that you may have discovered with yourself as well. We're just reading headlines. We're just going by the pictures, guys. You being literally conditioned to just look at the surface. Yeah, it's very, very important. And as you are being conditioned to that, you are beginning to not able to process the information right anymore, and it entangles you. Yeah, it creates all these schisms in you. Yeah, these what I mentioned, cognitive dissonances, that lead to a state energetically and psychologically in which you are no longer capable, and I want you to hear this again, no longer capable of making good decisions for yourself. You're not capable, because the state that is being created in your brain, okay, psychologists call this you being strooped, okay, is that you no longer really processing it here with that part in your prefrontal cortex, but primarily with your amygdala, the seat of your fight, flight, and freeze response. Yes, really, really important to know. So what can you do? Well, you're going to have to give yourself a little more time to digest things and turn off the bombardment. It is not possible for you to do this while you're being bombarded. So you have to create timeout sections of your day, if you will, or routines such as meditation, or just sitting in silence, or just stillness. Sometimes it's really just about not having any impulses, for you to be able to digest any kind of information, even though you're not consciously thinking about something. Remember that I would say probably 90% of the information that's coming in all needs to be processed through your subconscious. Okay, so you just need to really focus on being, present moment awareness. Counteract that. It's not that hard. Okay, then number 4, double binding. Praise and slam, inflate and burst. Those are phrases, or the sort of trademarks of narcissistic gaslighting. That's when you're being sort of raised up into a place artificially, usually through some kind of projection, like, yeah, you're doing the right thing, you're so good, wokeness and political correctness are the tools here on a collective level that make you feel good, that elevate you in some ways. And then at the same time, or, shortly thereafter, you getting the opposite message, that everything you're doing is wrong. Now, if you are not aware that this is being done to you on the outside, I can prove to you how you do it to yourself through all this self-censoring, through all this this weaponized empathy and fear talk right now. It's the oldest trick in the book, guys. Okay, so you are being told that, you did a good job. Yeah. And because you can't process it all the way, that you are taking it down yourself. This is what the system has already done to you. Anybody here who has a really strong critical voice that immediately takes down compliments or immediately takes down, moments where you actually feel you've done a good job? Anybody here who has that problem? Yeah, that you constantly feel you're not good enough, that you constantly feel like no matter how hard you try, there's always more and you're never actually getting anywhere. That is a form of double binding. So you're being put basically into an impossible state. Yeah, there is no way for you to resolve this. The way out of this is that you stop believing in the elevation. That's the first thing. Okay. So if you get some kind of, sort of political correctness or wokeness type of like, oh yeah, I'm so spiritual, or I'm so, I love the planet so much, and I'm doing this to save the planet or something. Be careful what you're buying into, because next thing is that you're going to feel not enough. Okay, so the antidote, from within yourself is to really go into your own values, and define for yourself what you stand for and what you love, and make that your daily affirmation with yourself. This is why I'm here. This is what I love the most. This is what I stand for. Yeah, so that you cannot be used in this emotional push-pull. Yeah, know who you are, know what you stand for. Okay, then it's a lot harder to double bind you. Yeah, if somebody puts you into a double bind situation, like where you stand between chairs, or where you're being triangulated, this happens a lot in families and relationships. Okay, refuse to be put into this place. And feel empowered to call this out. Say, don't put me into this place where I have to decide between my own survival and my kids, or, my job and my relationship. Those are things that you cannot resolve. Yeah, refuse to be in this double bind situation and question the person or the system that puts you into this place, because that's an impossible place to be in. Devaluing your reality, your feelings, and your needs. Number 5. This is very, very common in relationships. There, we all experience this here and there, where things are being minimized. Oh, and you don't really need this, or you're just making this up, or you're not feeling that you're being taken seriously with what it is that you want or that you need. And over time, you kind of give up on asking for it, to a point where you don't even remember what you truly want, what you truly need. Yeah, this is what the system is doing to us right now, just so you know. Okay, so if you're feeling like, wait a minute, what am I even doing here? What am I even doing this for? It's because of that. It's the grooming, it's the conditioning, that keeps telling you that you as an individual don't really count. And if you look a little deeper, you can see that It's being done to us humans on that level of humanness, yeah, that our humanity doesn't actually count. In fact, that it is something weak. It is weak to be human. That's a message that's being sent to all of us, yeah, and from a level of seeing this as a spiritual or a consciousness message. Okay, I can tell you that that's extremely dark. Yeah, we are very unique here as humans on this planet. We are a soul with a 3D manifestation. Yeah, we are phenomenal manifestations of divine consciousness. And anyone who tells you that, you're just like a piece of dirt, okay, has a different agenda. Yeah, this is untruth. Okay, but let's continue here with number 6. Cognitive dissonances and denial. Yes. Well, we all know what cognitive dissonances feel like within ourselves. Yeah, it's related to the double bind. It's related to this like sort of questioning your own reality. But make sure that you see how this is actually happening. Yeah, how you are being put and distracted and groomed and conditioned into this place. Yeah, where nothing makes sense anymore. Anybody feels like that? No matter where you look, no matter what kind of topic in life, anybody feels like none of this makes sense? If you feel that way, then understand that that is being done for you. Yeah. It leads to you questioning like the most fundamental values of what it means to be human. Yeah, what it means to live. And free-floating anxiety, yeah, this sort of collective phenomenon that, like, I don't know, 70% of the world population experiences right now, where you just lose ground. You don't know anymore, yeah, why you're here and what you stand for. Yeah, like I keep repeating myself because they're all related. Yeah, that is, the one of the most treacherous ways of deceiving you, because as a consequence of this cognitive dissonance, yeah, that you experience with all the main topics in the world, economy, education, health, politics, earth changes, yeah, these contradictive messages, and where there's a constant denial of things, yeah, that is what distances you from yourself. That is what makes it impossible for you to connect deeper with yourself and others. Now, then with number 7, that's just sort of the cherry on top. Yeah, if there's like these constant dramas, these constant like, oh my God, there's an emergency, there's a pandemic, there's a economic collapse, yes, and oh no, wait, here is the rescue. Here we can take care of this. Don't worry, we got you. Okay, this constant like, oh, yeah, this playing on your ego's need for immediate relief. Okay, and bonding you with trauma, hurt, and rescue, as we call this in narc speech. Yeah, to like give you this feeling, okay, I can trust, I can rely on the system. I don't need to worry. Yeah. The vaccines or, the lockdowns, oh, this is just there, to save us. It's going to keep me safe. And it brings relief, and it messes with your ability to see through those things, because all the chemicals that are being released there, the neurotransmitters, and that moment where you're being put into the state of emergency and then given sort of illusionary relief, okay, keeps you paradigm blind. Then at number 8, yeah, and all these things obviously going on simultaneously, hyper-criticizing. Yeah, creating these insane rules that you have to run all day to comply with, to be a good citizen, to be a good mom, to be a good daughter, to be a good husband, to be a good provider, to be a good this or this or this or that, good businessman, good, party member, good church member. Insane rules that make no sense, or that constantly communicate to you that you're not good enough, you're not doing enough. Yeah, you're not doing enough to save the world. You're not doing enough to save the planet. You're not doing enough to save the economy. Unreachable goals, obligations that are impossible to comply with, that keep you in this constant state of OCD, obsessive compulsive acting, never sitting down and questioning it and saying, well, no, I'm not going with that one. Number 9 is one step up to the establishing insane rules. That's the carrot dangling. That's the American dream, or this, like, if you just try hard enough, you can live the dream. You can get there. Yeah. If you just, do this and do that, comply really well, or do everything that I say, or, become better in, serving me, then one day you will get all the validation, all the approval that you are so desperately looking for. These promises, and just keeping you sort of waiting, keeping you in this state of, oh, if I'm just doing that, just one more thing, okay, then, I'll get there. Never actually getting there. Do you guys know the feeling? Yeah. So often this is in relationships also, comes out with like a lot of lying, a lot of cheating. So that, the red flags here to uncover that is the track record. Have you ever gotten the carrot? Is it actually realistic? Is it a realistic expectation? I see this a lot with people that have issues in their family constellation with their parents or with their partners, where they have severe difficulties, but there is this unrealistic expectation that one day all of that is going to be better if there's just enough money, or just enough of this, or just enough of that. So it's the lies that we're telling ourselves over and over and over again until we forget that it is a lie. All right, until we forget that this person or this system isn't actually worth it. That's a big one. And then number 10, blame shifting. Yeah, flipping blame, onto you, just accusing, sabotaging, and separating, like putting wedges into people, splitting them, making everything a matter of, like, you're either on our team, and if you're not on our team, then you must be against us, then you're the other team, the we, the us, and they. This like smooth talk around, oh yeah, we have to be all one, and equity, and all these kind of terms that are being hijacked and used against us. And then at the same time, sort of from underneath, implanting more and more polarities, more and more, black and white thinking. And with that, then also creating, sort of groups and factions, in our society. We call them flying monkeys in narc language, that start, sort of teaming up against one another, or that, communicate back to you that, you're not part of this unless you do something, unless you, comply in a certain way. So sometimes it can also work out in ways such as we've experienced during the pandemic, where your support system is being cut off from you because you have a different opinion or you have different values than others, which is also, if you think about it, an impossible place to be in. The way this it works with us is on, I don't even want to call it subconscious, because it's not really just subconscious. It's done deliberately on all these different levels, dimensions of us perceiving reality and us perceiving ourselves, which is basically, the physical, that's the neurotransmitter level, the way we are structured in the physical, then the emotional, the way we react, the meaning that we give something, for ourselves, comfort or pain based, and the mental, where it really messes with our ways of thinking clearly, of seeing, things in a neutral and rational way, in a spiritual sense, that it confuses us about the meaning of life and the meaning of, being human, and, and human connection and love, and in an energetic way that it keeps us in a continual state of, emergency, of anxiety, and, seeking, really leading us to energetically projecting our energy outward, and, well, providing it voluntarily to whichever power we are unconsciously externalizing, aligning with. And that's, guys, why it's so important to understand the mechanisms of that, because it happens to all of us. Unless we have a real good routine for, like finding to our own senses on all these different levels, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and energetically. So this is the roundup here for part 1, of the Confrontation with Untruth, collective gaslighting techniques. And next Wednesday, we're going to talk a little more detailed about how we can counteract this. I want you guys to ask lots of questions. Those of you who find this interesting, the take or the rendering that I'm offering here, know that I've been training people in their energetic awareness and consciousness for over 20 years. I have courses and programs, one of which is a sort of 6-weekend online interactive course called the ergyCourse, where I teach you through experiencing and, learning, so both on a mental, emotional, and energetic level, how to increase your energy awareness, how to direct your energies, how to learn about your energies, including chakras, including visioning, including manifestation. So you want to check this out. We're starting on April 1st. And for everybody else working with me already here in our hardware program or the Energy Training Club, know that these next 10 days, till the March 23rd, 24th, are really intense. Okay, so it's still time to join the Energy Boost program, the High Transformation Manifestation, for those of you who want to use those intense energies right now to not just decouple, but also to turn this into the new beginning that it is indicating to all of us right now, to not run away from it, to not be afraid of it, to not check out, but to really surf this wave and turn it around for yourself and others. Okay, thank you so much. I see you again next Wednesday. Stay conscious, guys. I love you. Bye-bye.